Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday to all of you. Before I get started, there is someone you all need to see.
Guess look at who I brought out the woodworks over here. It took a special occasion for me to bring her back over here.
I know. I'm sorry.
So thank you for coming.
I wouldn't have missed it. I would not have missed it.
Thank you. So everybody, thank you for tuning in to the fourth annual Lock and Key Media Family Reunion. This year we're doing things a little bit different, so we're going to implement some of my favorite streamers involved in this time. We'll just go around. So tonight we're going to have Kim Blue, going to have Mr. Big Stove, Dr. Dady Priest, the homie Metaspin.
Metaspin is coming?
Metaspin.
I might crash out a little bit.
So Metaspin is coming, and of course the Brown Whiskey Woman is going to close it out tonight with a couple of special guests.
I've already put in my request for the Brown Whiskey Woman.
Oh yeah, here we go.
For after my stream.
So I know we started late, so apologies on my end on that. So we're going to go ahead and get started and have fun.
Let's roll. All right, everybody. Happy Thursday. Lisa the X, I see you. Happy Thursday, everybody. I could not be more thrilled to be back in this seat, to be with you. I have missed you all for the last 2 months. First and foremost, thank you for being patient with my schedule. Shout out to Lock and Key Media for having me back and to be the person that kicks off the amazing Lock and Key Media Family Reunion weekend. If you are not familiar with this, you are in for a treat. I hope everybody sticks around, whether it's on your phone, your laptop, your TV, plug in, lock in. You are in for an incredible weekend of music, of laughter, of connection, and of course, for supporting an amazing cause. If you don't know, we are here to support autism awareness, and so we are here to support Spinning Autism. So for those who are compelled, moved, motivated to make a donation to a good cause, for those who are impacted by that in any way, whether it's your own family, whether you know about it through Twitch family, whether you have anybody that is among your circle, there are going to be ways to donate. All of that information will be in the chat. And so donations will go all weekend towards Spinning Autism. Before I get started with my own introductions, right? Shout out to all of the mods in advance. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and everybody who sits in this chair or who is going to be in the other studio DJing this weekend. Thank you to all of the mods for everything that you are going to do, you have done, you will do. We could not do what we do as streamers and DJs without you being right beside us, right in front of us, and right behind us. So thank you. Listen, I was just upstairs with all the mods who were getting me together and answering all of my questions. I was like, hey, what about this? And they were giving me all my answers. Okay, so mods are the backbone. They are our front and our backs, our sides. So thank you to all the mods who are going to support and who are going to be providing all of their love this entire weekend. All right. So for those who may not know me, if it's been a while since you've been to the Blueprint, let me introduce myself. My name is Kim Blue. I am an HR strategist. I am a career coach. I am also the host of The Blueprint, which has been dark for the last 2 months, but I am up to be able to support K-Lock and this amazing weekend. Welcome to The Blueprint. This is the space where we come to chop it up about all things personal and professional development. Ebony ATL coming in hot with the emote already. I would expect nothing less. This is a place where we come to chop it up about all things personal and professional development. I say this at the top of every single one of my streams. I fundamentally believe that everybody should be the boss of their own blueprint, and that means having access to the knowledge, skills, capabilities, and resources so we may operate at our highest potential, add value to whatever work we own or are responsible for, and most importantly, show up as our most authentic selves. Because when we do that, when we can show up as who we are, we don't have to dim our light. We can be great in our gifts. we can give our best to the world and we can receive all that the world has to give us back. All right. So if you've missed that opening mantra, there it is for those who have been saying, I miss you. For those who have been saying to me, when are you coming back? What's going to go? When can we see you? Right there it is, kicking off to the blueprint. I'm going to do my best to acknowledge everyone that I see in the chat. And I want to acknowledge the hype train. Shout out to everybody who has already kicked off this hype train at level 2, committed to spinning autism. Committed to spinning autism. Thank you to everybody who is donating to this amazing cause. I am so excited to be kicking off this weekend. I want to give a shout out to everybody that I see. I'm going to spend a few minutes giving some love. And then you already know how we do. Don't think for 1 minute because the hair is not in a bun and my lip is not red that I'm not coming for folks. I want to go ahead and set that expectation because tonight we are talking about transformation. And so if you have not been doing your work or you were slacking on it or if you were tiptoeing around it or if you were like, Kim Blue's not streaming, so I don't have to do it, incorrect. So let's go ahead and just set that straight now so we don't have to have that conversation later on during the stream. Okay, good talk. All right, let's acknowledge some folks who are in here. There is no housekeeping because I haven't been on the stream other than donate, enjoy, have a great time, and let's have a beautiful conversation. And then I'm going to hand off my seat to somebody extremely special. I have the pleasure of transitioning over to someone else. So to the folks in the chat, let's see who I can see in here. LaWanda Baskerville, hello, who happens to be upstairs. Hello, Crazy Beartown, darling Nikki, Tab Gilbert. Good to see all of you. The best lady on the check-in, Little Unique. Good evening. Mike City, what is going on? Good morning. I was going to say good morning because I'm so used to that, right? Hey, Booms, how you doing? Blue Majesty. Good to see all of your names in the chat again. Roz Brooklyn, good to see you. Double Spirit, there it is. The Double Spirit side-eye. I talked to Double Spirit last week and I told her I fully expect the side-eye to make its way into the chat because I would expect nothing less from her. Diz on the check-in, good to see you. Happy Thursday to everybody. Listen, folks. Continue to greet each other. Let everybody know that the Lock and Key Media Family Reunion is live and that it will be all weekend and that we want everybody in here. Miss Riz on the check-in. Good to see you. Natty Nat, good to see you. Thank you all for being here. Ebony ATL on the check-in who is upstairs holding things down. Okay. Good to see all of you. C Love 702. Good to see you. Happy Thursday. How's everybody been? Fran Lartim, good to see you. Welcome in. How's everybody been? Right? What have I missed these last 2 months that I have been heads down in my new job, doing all of the things, trying to make sure that the world is a little bit of a better place because I am doing things to help it be that way. What's everybody been doing? How has everybody been? Let's do a little bit of a check-in. Quick question for you, right? If you had to identify what the word is to describe you right now, what's your word? Right, Fran Lartim, thank you so much for the Lock and Key Media bits. Appreciate you going right to spinning autism and keeping this hype train going. So what's your word right now? What's everybody's word? How are you feeling? What do you need? What are you thinking? Right? My word is patience. Mr. Go DJ on the check-in. Good to see you. Happy Thursday. Oh my goodness, you all are making my heart smile with all of these names. I know, Holly, come on down. Come on down. Holly, Holly, if you leave now, you can be here before the weekend is over. Okay, you can be here before the weekend is over. Fran Lartim coming in hot with the gift sub. Thank you so much for all of this. You guys know all of this is going directly to Spinning for Autism. We do have a goal. I will let the host tell you about that goal himself the next time he is on the stream. But thank you to everybody who's already donated. We are at level 3. We just transitioned into level 4. Thank you again, Fran, for the 5-pack of gifted subs. Okay. So listen, while everybody's thinking about their word, right? LaShawn says motivated. Good to see you, LaShawn. Little Miss Ruthie on the check-in. Good to see you as well. Happy Thursday. Overwrought. Fair enough, Mike City. Fair enough. My word is focused. All right. One reason says help. Fair, right? Fair. All of that, right? Songbird says grateful. Okay, these are all great words. And you all know me. The check-in is to make sure that we are grounded and aligned in our minds because we are getting ready to go into a conversation around transformation. Okay, and if you are wanting to know what transformation is, fret not. I'm going to make sure that we are defined that and we are clear on what it is. And we're also going to talk about the importance of transformation and how you get there. Hobbs on the check-in. Good to see you. Shazam X, good to see you. Thank you all for contributing to the hype train, for continuing to support that. I see everybody who's in here. Marcia Nobrady, good to see you, my darling. I hope you're doing well. All right. So when we think about transformation, right, I want you all to think about where you are today. And is where you are today really where you want to be? And I want you to answer this very honestly. We're kicking off with the mirror moment. It's been a long time since you've heard me say all these things. So I'm just not even going to wait. We're going to dive right into all the things, right? So is where you are today, listen, y'all. Y'all see nothing has changed? Look at that. Y'all see how nothing has changed? He cut the lights off on me. I haven't even been on but about 7 minutes. Y'all see that? The lights were already off. I just want y'all to know that nothing has changed. Okay. Listen, Mr. DJ said a real quick nope. So listen, everybody hold up your mirror. Okay. Everybody got their mirrors together, right? Virtual, otherwise, but get your mirror. One reason says nope. I do not have it. Blue Majesty said lights out. Okay. I want everybody to ask themselves, am I where I want to be right now? And have I started doing the work to get from where I am to where I want to be? Do I know where I want to go? Right? That's what I really want to make sure. The dude coming in with the 5-pack of gift subs. Thank you so much. Breezy on the check-in. Good to see you. Happy Thursday to everybody who is coming in. I am so thrilled and honored to be the first person that is kicking off this weekend. Ebony ATL says, yes, I am. And I can attest to that. You know why? Because I happen to be Ebony ATL's coach. And I have seen her doing the work. Okay. But for those who are not, we're going to talk about transformation. Transformation is how I essentially am going from one place to another place. Because the place that I am is no longer serving me. The place that I currently am is no longer nurturing me. It's not supporting me. It is not giving me the things that I need in order to elevate, level up, be great, and bring my gifts to the next level. If you feel like your gifts are stifled, if you feel like the opportunities for you to grow and go are limited, if you feel like you're getting in your own way and you've not started taking any of the steps towards getting there, then this conversation is for you. So for those who need to take their notes, let's go ahead and get out our pens, invite your friends, and settle in, because we're going to talk about transformation and the whole C702, right? The dude, good to see you. Thank you so much for the gift subs again. Did you get the? Okay, I'm ready. So listen, we're going to go ahead and drop the presentation, because you all know this would not be the blueprint if there were no slides. So for people who are taking notes, take notes, okay? Because this is going to be a place where everybody does a check-in, right? It's appropriate because I haven't been in front of you consistently for the last 2 months. And so it is time. It is time for you to do a little check-in. So here it is. We are presenting transformation. All right. And we're going to hang out in these slides for just a little bit. OK, because I want to make sure everybody gets the fullness of what transformation is. So we're going to jump to the next slide in just a minute. But before we do, I want you to ask yourself this. When you think about transformation, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of when you hear the word transformation? What are you not doing? Right? What are you avoiding? Come on, y'all. Y'all know I was already, you know, the word avoidance was gonna show up, right? What are you avoiding? Okay. DJ Trouble Baby, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining. Right. I want to ask, what are you afraid of when it comes to transformation? Okay. Oh, LaWanda Baskerville coming in hot with with the boss gear check-in. So if anybody needs boss gear, okay, if you need tissue, a weighted blanket, if you need a hard hat, if you need boots, because I'm told I step on toes, okay? If you need a hug, if you need a couch, if you need room on the pew, see Hobbs, whoever it is that you need to see, but go find them and get them, okay? Because as we talk about transformation and as we peel back these layers, I want everybody to lean in. This is not a lean out conversation. So I want you to ask yourself, what are you afraid of that's keeping you here, that's keeping you from embracing transformation? I'm glad you asked. Before we can answer that question, let's define what transformation is. So we're going to go to the next slide, because you all know me. We all have to be coming from the same page, reading off of the same hymnal. So transformation defined. Let's look at what this is, okay? Transformation is a complete change in the appearance or the character of something, someone, especially so that that thing or person is improved, okay? Let me say that again. The first three words, a complete change. I want somebody to write that down, meaning I am no longer what I was, who I was. I am no longer doing the things that I was doing. I am no longer embracing the mindsets, the perspectives. I am no longer around the same people that I was around. A complete change means the old has gone away and that there is a new thing replacing what was. Okay? I want to make sure everybody understands that, because once you embrace the fact that it is a complete change, it means that we are not going back to where we were. Okay? Yes, Blue Majesty, out the gate. Okay? Because why wait? Why wait? It's been 2 months, and I want to make sure everybody knows that Kim Blue has not lost any momentum or steam. So we coming out the gate with the glasses and the definitions. Okay? Breezy says, I am no longer big back Breezy. I am wholesome Breezy now. Okay. I'll meet you where you are, Breezy. How about that? Okay. So I want you to understand, Blue Majesty with the bits. Thank you so much as we continue to kick off this hype train. Appreciate you all. We just pushed past level 5. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Always, always appreciated. And it is going to an amazing cause. Okay. So we're donating to autism. Spending for autism awareness this entire weekend. All right. So thank you all for the hype train and for contributing while I was on screen. All right. Now, transformation. If you did not write down a complete change, I want you to write that first. Then I want you to acknowledge these 2 words: a complete change in appearance or character. Let's have a conversation about character, right? So the simple definition is character is who you are when nobody is watching, okay? So when you are outside, when you are among your people, when you are among your community, when you are among those that you know, or particularly even those that you don't know, what's your character? When people say, Blue is brand new. Oh, Blue sat in this chair and she came back, right? And she's not even the same person that she was. She doesn't even, because you all know me in a certain way, right? If I sat in this chair and you didn't get that opening mantra and you didn't get some of my antics and you didn't get some of the things, right? You would all be like, who is that? Okay. Character or appearance. Appearance meaning, how do you experience this person? How do we know that it's them? Do I recognize them? Right? There's a phrase out there, right, that says game recognizes game. When people start moving different, when they talk different, when they act different, when they don't acknowledge, when they do not do things that you're used to them doing, that signifies a change. Okay. Anonymous gifter, thank you so much for the gift sub. To whomever who it is. Is it Funky Doctor? Oh, it says Funky Dread. Thank you so much for the gift sub to Funky Dread. Appreciate that. So I want to make sure. Hello, Vader. Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming into the stream. Oh, Vader comes into the stream and says Vader is an asshole, which is a part of who his character is. So if Vader was being overly non-asshole-ish or Aries-ish or whatever you want to say, you all might be like, what's going on with Vader? Good to see you, Vader. Thank you so much for being here. All right. What I want you to know is this. When we talk about this whole change in character, when we talk about this change in appearance or presentation or experience, that is the beginning of what a transformation is. It means that what you did before is no longer what you are going to do going forward. You have let go, you have disconnected, you have separated yourself from whatever that was. I want you guys to focus on this word separation, because when we get to how to embrace transformation, we're going to talk about letting go, which can be difficult for people, and that's okay. It is totally okay for it to be difficult, but it doesn't mean that you have to stay there. And if you are staying in the place that keeps you stuck, it is likely because you are getting in your own way. Circumstances can change. Environments can change. You can keep yourself in a place for longer than you need to, through avoidance, through disconnection, through dissociation, all of these things. Okay. So let's spend a little time talking about the second part of transformation, which means that especially so that a thing or a person is improved. Okay. Improved, meaning I am better. I am greater. I am vibrating higher. I am operating at a different level than I was before the transformation took place. When you are transformed, you are a new thing. All of the things that you were are no more. And sometimes that can be really difficult for us to accept, that the things that I was, the ways that I had been living, the things that I had been thinking, the people that I had been hanging around, they are no longer a part of my day to day. Let's talk about community, because we're going to talk about metamorphosis first, right? The components of transformation, right? Evolved, Blue Majesty. Absolutely evolved. Okay. Now, I want to make sure that you think about the community that you spend your time with. If you had to characterize these people, are these people that lift you up? Are these people that encourage you? Are these people that get in your ass when it is time for you to move your feet? Are these the people that are saying, hey, it's time for you to get yourself together? You've been sitting here for this long and you've been saying all these things and you've not been doing these things. The thing that you want is out there, but you got to go get it. Or are these the people who are going to say to you, it's going to be okay. You don't have to elevate more. There's no reason for you to do more, to be better, to vibrate higher, to operate bigger, to expect greater, to own more, right? When we talk about transformation, I want everybody to understand three things when we talk about this, okay? And if you're not in one of these places as you think about transformation, because it can be scary, Miss KB on the check-in, I see you. Somebody get Miss KB a tissue. She says she's crying under her weighted blanket, okay? Here's the thing. Listen, we starting out strong with metamorphosis. LaShawn says, my circle has decreased. Listen to me. MC2J Man on the check-in. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Lock and Key Media Family Reunion Weekend to you. Okay. Listen, folks, it starts with metamorphosis. I want everybody to look at this definition with me as I speak it through. Significant physical change involving habits, behaviors, and ways of being or existing. I just want everybody to let that soak in for a minute. Significant. The first word is significant, meaning it is above average, right? It is hyper. Right? Meaning it is not regular, because there's nothing regular about anybody here. Okay. It is not mediocre, because mediocre is not welcome here. If you are the boss of your own blueprint, we don't do anything mediocre at all. Classics on the check-in. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Thursday to you. Okay. Significant physical change. What do I mean by physical change? I mean, is your attitude different? Right? It could be your physical body that's different. It could be physically, I am doing more of something and less of something else. Okay. All of those things are there when we think about that. Now, it is also inclusive of significant physical change involving habits. Habits are the things that we do on a regular basis. Okay. But are your habits supporting your growth, or are your habits stunting your growth? Do we want support? Or do we want to be stunted? The choice is yours, okay? We might say that we want support, but we might be stunting our own growth because we are afraid, because we don't want to do the work, because we think it's going to be harder than it actually is. So your behaviors are aligned to those habits. Is everybody with me? I want everybody to understand the relationship between habits and behaviors are extrinsically connected. Meaning, if you've got a set of habits that you do all the time, the behaviors that you demonstrate come out of those habits. Meaning, if you're unwilling to change, if you're unwilling to try, if you're unwilling to be vulnerable, if you are unwilling to open up, to step in new territory, to say yes more, to say no more, your behaviors will be a direct extension of your habits. And if you don't like your behaviors, then boo-boo, let me tell you, please check your habits. Because your habits might be perpetuating behaviors that are keeping you stuck instead of supporting your growth. Everybody with me on this whole notion of a metamorphosis, because this is where it begins, right? Darling Nikki says a whole word. right? I want everybody, little unique. And listen, little unique, I want to acknowledge what you said about still working on the vulnerability, because it takes time, lady. It takes time. Vulnerability is hard, which is why transformation can be scary, because it means you absolutely have to admit something, put yourself out there in some way, expose yourself in some way where you now can be hurt, where people could present judgment, where you don't have a circle of folks that can support you. Okay. So I want to acknowledge what Lil Unique said. She said, I'm still working on the vulnerability part, and that's okay. That is completely okay. All right. Now, I want to make sure that we talk about these next two, because then we're going to get to the piece around how we embrace transformation. And that's likely where I'm really going to step on some toes. So if you don't have your boots on, please go ahead and get your boots on. McBoo16, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. All right. Happy Thursday. And happy Thursday to everybody who is making their way into the chat. I have the pleasure of kicking off this Lock and Key Media Family Reunion weekend. We are talking about transformation here in the Blueprint. If you have not taken any notes, please get your pens, invite your friends, and settle in. Okay. Because I'm going in. Now, from metamorphosis, the next part of transformation is about spontaneity. Okay. Spontaneity means it's sudden. It is without inclination or premeditation. Let's talk about this whole notion to yes, Ebony ATL, right? Let's talk about this notion of premeditation. Premeditation means I had a forethought. I thought about it in advance, and then I decided that I was going to do it. Okay. Now, here's the thing about premeditation. This is where most of y'all get stuck. If I said to you, tell me how your career journey is going. Tell me how your journey for better nutrition is going. And you said to me, man, I'm really thinking about putting some better habits in place. I want to eat healthier. That's premeditation. Let me acknowledge it. I want to put it in very simple, accessible terms. Premeditation is, I should probably eat better. I should probably start walking every day. Okay. I should probably get to a place where I'm doing something else. Okay. And then you get to a place where that's all you do is you just premeditate it. It lives in your mind, but you don't change your habits or behaviors to now get you to a better place. So who gets stuck at premeditation, right? Who gets stuck just thinking about it and not doing? We can own it, right? Sometimes we get to a place where we're like, I'm just going to think about it. You know why? Because thinking doesn't require accountability. Let me say that again. When we're just thinking about something, we're not accountable to something, meaning we don't have to worry about doing something. We don't have to worry about failing. We don't have to worry about success. We don't have to, because sometimes we can be afraid of failure. We can also be afraid of being successful. Okay. This girl TV says me. I'm the hit dog hollering right now. All right. And that's okay. Sometimes we just get stuck in the premeditation space because accountability is a lot, especially accountability to ourselves. We don't want to let ourselves down. We don't want to let other people down. We don't want to disappoint anybody. We don't want to give anybody any reason to give us ridicule. I see you, reason, right? We don't want to give anybody reason to give us ridicule. We don't want anybody reason to judge us. Okay. We don't want to give anybody reason to say, I told you so. I knew you weren't going to be able to do that. Why did you even try? Right. All of these things. Exactly one reason. LaWanda Baskerville is here and she's physically upstairs. So you're not going anywhere. So go ahead and just settle in, friend. And also love you, mean it. Okay. So when we think about this whole notion of premeditation, I want to make sure that everybody recognizes that sometimes we get stuck here and we don't take steps forward. And it's this premeditation that doesn't perpetuate any action. Okay. So understanding this notion of we got to have some metamorphosis, right? Absolutely. We got to have metamorphosis. We also have to have this notion of I've got to be spontaneous, meaning I don't have to have something necessarily that is a catalyst to kick this off. I don't necessarily have to have something that is going to do it. I just need to be motivated intrinsically. I need to know that it is the right thing. I need to know that I've been thinking about it. That's what we mean when we talk about this whole notion of spontaneity. You're ready. And 9 times out of 10, most of the time we've been ready. If you've been thinking about it for months, if you've been thinking about it for weeks, if you've been thinking about it all, that means that your readiness is already there. We just play off like we don't want to connect the two. What we're not ready for is the work, but we are ready for the results. But guess what, Suge? You can't get to the results without the work. One doesn't happen without the other. Okay. So if you want to get to the results, you got to put the work in, which gets us to modification, which is Hobbs said, I'm down. Somebody get Hobbs a blanket because she's already down. Okay. Listen to me. You cannot get to the results without the work. Okay. So you cannot stay in one place. This is where this notion of modification is. Modification, simply stated, means change. Changing what? I'm so glad you asked. You got to change those habits. You got to change the behaviors. You got to change the people that you're hanging around. You got to change your mindset. You have to really get to a place where you change the way you're talking to yourself. You got to change the noise that's around you. Okay. All of these things are super important when we talk about making modifications, because modification is how transformation starts. Somebody write that down. How do I get started with my transformation? You modify. What do you modify? I'm super happy that you asked too. You modify those habits. You modify your behaviors. You modify your community. You modify your choices, your responses. You modify who deserves your yes and who absolutely should get your no. You modify the way that you show up for yourself. That's right, double spirit. Modification is how transformation starts. You have to make a commitment to yourself. I'm ready. Because here's the thing, if it wakes you up out of your sleep at night, if you can't stop thinking about it, if you see the thing or experience the thing or the topic keeps coming up in everything around you, right? It's like when you buy a new car, or you think you want to buy a new car, and the car that you want to buy, you see it everywhere. It's the same thing. That's how you know this is what's meant for me. There's a level of confirmation and validation in that. But here's the thing, metamorphosis and transformation don't necessarily come with any validation. You don't get the validation until you've done it, till you've come through the end. Meanwhile, you're looking for signs all along this journey, which is why people get stuck at premeditation, because they're wanting to know I'm on the right path, right? I'm doing the right thing. But you can't know if you're on the right path if you stuck in premeditation just thinking about it. Ross Brooklyn says, don't procrastinate like me. We're going to talk about that next, Ross Brooklyn, when we get to how you embrace transformation. Okay. I see you, Marcia O'Brady. Brown now says, I'm handing out tissues and blankets. So anybody who needs boss gear, please go get it. No, LV, you cannot just smack a bitch. No. Shout out to Idol DJ LV's in the chat. Good to see you, LV. Thank you so much for being here. Darling Nikki says, just give me the box. Just give me the entire box of tissue. Okay. That is what I want right now. And no, LV, violence is not the answer, except when it's the answer. But in this case of transformation, it is not the answer. Okay. Let's just go ahead and acknowledge that it's not the answer. Okay. TNT on the check-in. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Thursday. Shout out to everybody who is making their way into the stream for this 4th annual Lock and Key Media Family Reunion. The Blueprint is happy to be the kickoff stream. We are raising money all weekend for an amazing cause, autism awareness. So thank you to everybody who is donating. The link is pinned to the top of this chat so that you can make your donations there. Okay. Good to see everybody who is coming in. I have missed all of you. Brazilian Shorty, welcome in. Good to see you. All right. So transformation, premeditation, meaning we get stuck in the thinking and not the doing, and we don't invite change in. All right. So listen, how do we embrace transformation? Because we know what it is and we know where we are on this cycle. Okay. Some of us are thinking about where those physical changes need to take place. We're assessing our behaviors. Some of us are just stuck thinking, I know I need to do it, but Maybe I'm not ready. Malik Stone on the check-in. Good to see you. Happy Thursday. But what we're really saying is it's time to make change. And what I mean by time to make change is it's time to take action. It is really time to do something different or better than what we were doing, because what we were doing was not enough. It was not getting us where we needed to be, right? Y'all remember do you all remember my stream on avoidance? I'm sure you were expecting that word, but there's a slide in there, and it's a man. He's sitting on the railroad tracks in his rocking chair with his newspaper, just like this, waiting, right? Avoiding the inevitable, which is the train that's going to come barreling down the tracks at some point. Nick 10 on the check-in. Good to see you. Happy Thursday. Thank you so much for being here. Listen, so many amazing DJs, mods, streamers in the chat. Please go give everybody a follow. Many of them will be gracing this very space that I'm in or in the opposite studio spinning. So listen, take your time and go ahead and follow them now so you don't have to worry about doing it later. We got a great lineup for you, not only tonight, but this entire weekend, and a reminder to donate. We are accepting donations for autism. Okay, the link is in the chat. All right, so let's go to the next slide, which talks about, so how do we embrace transformation? Okay, because you have to. There are 3 steps. Okay, 3 steps. We don't need any more. 1, 2, 3. Because if we do any more than that, now we get confused, and now we can invite in excuses, and now we get to a place where we're like, I don't know, and we can second guess, right? I want everybody to write down the word double-mindedness. Who in here is double-minded? Meaning I will say something that I want to do and then talk myself out of it immediately as I'm saying why I absolutely need to do it. This is a great idea, but I don't know if that's actually going to work, because then I have to do this and double spirit coming in hot immediately. Okay. Right. Double-mindedness. This is how we get stuck in the premeditation, because we say to ourselves, I'm going to do this. Who in here is also guilty when you hear an idea or when somebody presents you with something, you immediately shut it down and you give it a no? Well, that's never going to work because XYZ. You don't hear it out. You don't even explore the possibilities. You just hang out in this space out of all of these things, right? I see you, brown eyes. Malik Stone says, I'm a Gemini, so that's daily for me. Fair. Oh my goodness. Double Spirit says, I feel seen. CLove 702 says, me. Okay. K-Lock says, I'm going back to where it's safe, at his own house, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever he is in his house, that is safe. That is where he's going back to. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Kate. Thank you for turning the lights back on. Oh man. Hobbs says, come to the pew. Roz Brooklyn says, I will overanalyze it. You're not alone, Roz. So many people get into that double-mindedness, and that's where they get into their own version of analysis paralysis, right? I'm going to think it through so much so that I have talked myself out of a good thing, which is why the very first step to embracing transformation is shifting your mindset. Okay. If Nikisha Hicks were here, she would tell you that what you value, you make time for, and what you make and what you make time for is what you value. Okay. Miss KB says, hiding in the blanket. Okay. Hiding in the blanket. Absolutely, Kate. Do not talk yourself out of a great thing. Here's the thing, friends. If you know it's great, why would you not do it? You know it's great. And many of you all have had the chance to get to know, and many of you all have had the chance to learn about what it is that you're interested in. I've had the privilege and the honor of coaching many of you. I know what it is that you're good at, and I see your capabilities, but it starts with your mindset. Hey, McKee, good to see you. Happy Thursday. Thank you so much for being here. Dr. Dady Priest on the check-in. Happy Thursday. Good to see you. Okay. I want you to, Miss Ice to you. Hello. Happy Thursday. I want everybody to understand that your mindset is where it all begins. If you don't shift your mindset when you're in that premeditation phase, you will stay there. You won't do the thing that you want to do. And you will then keep talking to yourself and others about the thing that you want to do. So it starts with saying, I'm capable. I'm willing. I'm open. I am afraid, and I'm still going to push through no matter what. Once you get to a place where you know you can push through, you have taken the first step, because we are not in a fixed mindset. We are in a growth mindset. Growth mindset means everything that is out there and available, because what does Nikisha Hicks and Kim Blue say? Everything is available and nothing is off limits. Absolutely, reason. Do it afraid, because it's going to be there whether you are afraid or not. So do it afraid. Even if you are afraid, why would you not do it? Why would you not do it? Only for you to be afraid and still be thinking about it. I'll wait. Y'all lucky I left the red card at home, okay? I left it at home, but I'm just saying, why would you not do it? Because even if you're afraid, it's still going to be the thing that you want to do, right? Right, Nat, right? Natty Nat. Y'all see the natty Nat emoji? Right. Here's the thing. Come on, little unique, and say it. If you're afraid, but you're still going to think about it, why would you not do it? I want somebody to tell me that in the chat, okay? Because it's not going to go anywhere. So then the next step in shifting your mindset is you have to challenge assumptions. Most of the things that we feel fearful about are because we are assuming. We don't have evidence. We don't have any proof. We don't have anything. And it's the absence of that evidence where things become convoluted for us, where we start to feel like I can't trust that because I can't see it and I don't know it and I don't have a good confirmation that this thing is going to be exactly what it's supposed to be, right? I don't know. How do I figure that out? I just don't know, right? I don't know. You have to challenge your assumptions. What do I know? What do I believe? What have I seen others do? And what do I know about their outcomes that gives me comfort with knowing that if I do this, I'm going to be okay, right? I am going to be okay. Miss KB says that's been her lesson for the last few months, pushing through while afraid. I promise you, folks, you can do it afraid, but you have to say to yourself, it's worth it. It's worth the discomfort, right? Who in here is thinking to myself, it is worth the discomfort? If you're not, I want you to say that to yourself. It's worth the discomfort to get to a positive place, to get to joy, to get to success, to get to the outcome that I have been working towards. It is worth the discomfort. Nobody in the history of everdom has ever said it's worth the discomfort that I know of. And I coach a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people. But I'm telling you, I want you to change your language, right? It is worth the discomfort to get to the goal that you have been aspiring to. I promise you. I promise you it's worth the discomfort. You don't believe me? Ask anybody in the Blueprint coaching groups that I'm coaching right now. I promise you they will tell you it is worth the discomfort. Okay? Ask any one of them. They're all in the chat. And some of them are here in person upstairs. I promise you they will tell you it is completely worth the discomfort to get to this place so that you can reap the benefits of it. Okay? Believe me. Now, the next thing you have to do when it comes to shifting your mindset is letting go. Letting go. LaWanda Baskerville says, nope. Nope. LV says, Everdom is a real place. It is. No one in the history of Everdom. Okay. I'm just saying, for those who know where Everdom is, you understand what I'm talking about. I just want you to know that. Okay. Now, you got to let go. What do you have to let go? You have to let go of people. You have to let go of mindsets. You have to let go of anything that is not in service to you, your success, your elevation, your growth. Anything that's keeping you stuck, let it go. Anything that is bringing you down, let it go. Anything that is negative noise, let it go. Anything that is not saying you got this, let it go. Right? If they're not giving you the same level of blueprint boss energy that Kim Blue is giving you, let it go. That's who needs to be in your community, period. Okay? Always. And if it's not, they'll be okay. But that doesn't mean that you have to continue to embrace that. That mindset shift is absolutely the place where it starts. Because remember, premeditation is where we get stuck. Absolutely. Miss Ice says, where are the blankets? Absolutely right. You got to let it go. You can't worry about the fact that someone or something may be less than or not as much of something because you're not present. How about instead of thinking about what that something isn't, how about thinking about what you are because you're not there? I am better. I am happier. I am more at peace. I have more time versus, oh, well, what are they going to do? How is this going to work without me? What are they going to get? Who are they going to get to feel? They'll get someone. Believe that. Okay. Believe that. Please let it go. All right. Now, step 2 to embracing transformation. You have to embrace change, because once you let it go, that means you're not going back to do the things that you were doing. You have to start doing new things. Okay, come on, sing, A. McKee. Go ahead and sing it, right? You have to embrace new things. Now, the first thing that you have to embrace is self-compassion. Said differently, give yourself grace. Somebody write down self-compassion equals grace. Okay. It is really hard for us to give ourselves grace. So says the woman who has the word tattooed on one of my fingers, because it is there was a period in my life, and I'm still working through this because we evolve in our journeys, right? Right. This is something that I used to be terrible at giving myself. So I had to start being really kind to myself. Self-compassion equals grace. Give yourself grace. Today I didn't make the mark. That's okay. Right? LV said it in the chat. Change isn't change unless you change. Because if it's not changing, it's the same. Period. If it is not changing, it is the same. Self-compassion equals grace. I promise you. Okay? You have to be open to doing what you need to do for you. And in the moments that you can't, when the opportunities don't quite pan out the way that you want them to, you have to say, that's okay, because I'm on the journey. I am on the way there. I have already started. I'm not where I was last month or last week or 6 months ago, right? Because you already know the Kim Blue mantra 6 months ago, right? I want everybody to think about where they were 6 months ago as we talk about embracing change and giving yourself grace. Where were you 6 months ago? Where was everybody 6 months ago? Right? Put something in the chat about where you were 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I didn't have this new job. Right? 6 months ago, which was what, November-ish, I had just entered my Obama year, right? I just turned 44. I was entering my year of new beginnings, right? Nothing about my life was the way that it is now, right? 6 months ago, where were you? And now balance that with, and 6 months from now, where will you be? Where do you want to be? And in order for you to give yourself grace, okay? Come on, Lil Unique says it takes 6 months to complete a Rolls Royce, right? Hobbs says I was standing in a place of fear. A. McKee says I was in a distressed state of mind. And I know for a fact that Hobbs and A. McKee are both in very different places than where they were 6 months ago. I have it on excellent authority, right? Miss KB says, not in the new work position that I'm in now. Come on, Miss KB, who sent me a whisper about it and told me that she had done the work that landed her this new position. Come on, C Love, who also said I didn't have this new position at work, right? Look at where everybody was 6 months ago. And even if you don't put it in the chat, I want you to think about where you were 6 months ago. How was your mindset? What have you let go of 6 months ago? Or what are you still holding on to? LV, sir. I'm not with you. I just want you to know. And this says, but look at me now. I cannot with you. Okay. I'm just saying, for purposes outside of LV, think about where you were 6 months ago. Okay. And think about where you can be 6 months from now. I just want to say that. I want to give everybody perspective, because here's the thing. Time is currency. You all know that. Emotion is currency. Energy is currency. And so when we're putting our investment into that, we have to be able to embrace change. Okay. You also have to communicate your needs when you are embracing change. Okay. I know. Listen, LV, trust me. I know it's growth for you. I do know that is growth. And I believe that wholeheartedly. Okay. I want everybody to open up and communicate their needs. Because here's the thing. When you give yourself grace, DJ Tiger, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Thursday to you. And thank you for coming to support Lock and Key Media Family Reunion Weekend. When you start to embrace self-compassion or giving yourself grace, that means that you have to communicate your needs. When we don't get what we need, that's when our emotional state gets all shifty and unsettled under our feet. We don't feel grounded. We don't feel supported. We don't feel like we have a really good grasp of what's going on. It's because some of our needs are not being met. Okay. Probably. So I think what I want to say to everybody is this. Okay. When we talk about practicing self-compassion, when we talk about communicating your needs, I want to go back to that question that I asked you at the beginning of the stream. What are you afraid of when it comes to communicating your needs and practicing self-compassion? I'm going to bake in a little bit of live coaching because it's been a while since I've been in front of you and I missed y'all. All right. So I want you all to throw some things in the chat so I can talk back to you, because you all know how this works. One or two people start to throw their stuff out there, and then I end up coaching more broadly, and everybody gets to benefit from this, right? So what keeps you from giving yourself grace? And what keeps you from communicating your needs? Right? What's there? I want to make sure that you all are really taking some time to hold up this mirror moment, right? Because it's important. What are you afraid of when it comes to communicating your needs? I want you to think about that, and I really want you to put it in the chat so I can start to respond back to some folks. I can give you some questions to think back on, right? I can make sure that I'm putting some things out there. Miss Ice to You says guilt. And who will hear me? That's a big, big, big one, right? Who will hear me? Guilt is a big one. Marcia No Brady says rejection. Tiger says the response. Absolutely. These are all great responses. Okay, so Marcia No Brady, communicating your needs to have your needs rejected by someone or something, or communicating your needs to discover that they can't be met in a way that you don't have control over. Miss Ice to You says practicing self-compassion and communicating your needs, right? The question of the day around why, what are you afraid of? Guilt. Is it self-imposed guilt, or is it right, environmental or circumstantial guilt? Where does that guilt come from? Right? Tiger says the response. So Tiger, what I would be curious about with you is their response. Is their response the thing that's driving you? You're right, LV. LV says it's hard to give grace when people hold you to high standards. They do. Now, let's go back to what I said a slide or two ago. Okay. So in our opening slide, when we talked about transformation and this whole notion of having a metamorphosis, right? Everybody is talking about this whole premeditated piece right here, this space in our brain where we are working through, what are they going to say? How are they going to respond? Is this something that I think or believe might not get the answer that in my mind I need? Am I ready to talk about my why? Am I open to sharing, right? Reason says rejection, no help from those who are in a position to assist. That is a really real one. Oftentimes we see people who are in spaces that we think can help us. However, we don't have the clarity or the clairvoyance to understand that whatever it is that they may be going through may not be visible to us. And so what we think is available to us is not necessarily available. And we may also think that, well, I don't want to ask because I don't want them to feel as if they now have something over me or they owe me something, right? Marcia No Brady says they will say they will, and then they don't. Which then can teach you right? That's a behavior, Marcia No Brady, that you're talking about. So if a person teaches you, hey, every time I ask you and you don't show up, right? Or every time I invite you or I tell you, right? You say to me, if you need anything, reach out. But then when I reach out, you're not available, right? When I reach out, you don't answer the phone. When I reach out, you don't respond to my text message. When I say, hey, I could use a little help, you don't get back to me in a timely manner. Now you're experiencing behaviors from someone that show you, listen, I know for a fact that I can't rely on you. So sometimes we don't communicate our needs. These are all great reasons why we don't communicate our needs. So then here's my follow-up question. When you don't communicate your needs, what happens? What do you do, loves? When you don't communicate your needs, where does that go? What do you do with unmet needs that are going to help you get to a place where you can transform? How do you work through that? Because now we've got these needs that haven't met. And now we get back to a place where we're operating in avoidance. Well, I'm just going to avoid engaging with that person. I'm going to avoid saying anything altogether. I'm just going to avoid trying to do this. And what happens? Most of the time, we end up doing it ourselves. All right. Little Unique says, sometimes I pray. Absolutely. Oftentimes we step in and we do things ourselves on our own. We don't leave anybody any reason to try to help us. Absolutely. And McKee says it becomes an internal battle we deal with. Reason says we figure it out, right? LV says when you don't get the support from people that you think would do so, it makes you say, never mind, especially when they support something or something else with less of a relationship. Whew. LV is going to have me here until tomorrow talking about this, because this part keeps people stuck for real. Because then what happens? Then we have a whole moment in our brain and we get emotionally invested in why those who said they would not help us are willing to help someone else. Then we start to spin out, right? Or crash out, as the children say. Then we crash out over, well, what's so great about this other person that they would help them? Or what's wrong with me that they wouldn't help me? Right? I thought maybe I need to think about my relationship. Now I need to assess XYZ and ABC with them. So then we get stuck not communicating our needs, which means we can't embrace any change, which means we can't give ourselves any grace, which means that we are in a fixed mindset instead of a growth mindset. And that keeps us in that premeditation phase where we're just thinking about it. Oh, my goodness. It's a whole toxic cycle. What does that feel like? Blessed day on the check-in. Good afternoon or good evening to you. Thank you so much for the bits and for contributing to autism awareness. Thank you so much, right? This whole thing, right? LV's comment is sparking a real big moment as we think about embracing transformation, right? We don't do it because when we communicate our needs, now someone that we have in our minds cultivated a relationship with, they are showing up different. And McKee says a closed mouth doesn't get fed. That's right. But what happens? But if we speak out loud and then we don't get fed either, then what? I want to encourage you to think about what you do when you communicate your needs and the person or places or spaces with whom you communicate them don't come through. What's the checks and balance system that you have with yourself? Because oftentimes that dysregulation that occurs because we've already gone in our minds and made up a story and said, okay, this person's going to do this, and then that's going to help me get to here, and then I can get to the next step and all these things, and then it doesn't happen. Okay. And now there's a crack in our very smooth concrete, and that's not what we want. Hobbs says, usually I find out that those people who do you like that weren't meant for you anyway. Absolutely. It doesn't lessen the sting, though. And I want to acknowledge the emotional component to embracing change. Okay. Neat 10 says, I'm going to keep my Taurus horns in my head. Shout out to everybody. Right. Same with me. Listen, I can say I'm a Scorpio. Right. So when my tail comes up, because I already see it, I'm like, I'm prepared to strike, right? When the tail is down, it's when you need to be concerned. When it's up, I can either get out of the way or I still got some time, right? But you're right, Blessed Day. It is really hurtful because now you have to accept a new truth, a new reality. You have to detach from something that you had been accepting, that you had been loving and embracing and creating space for so long. That is not a reality. It's like starting over, right? It's really like starting over. Shout out to all the new follows. For everybody who has followed me on Twitch during my blueprint session. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I do hope to be back very, very soon, regularly streaming again, right as I get myself into a more better rhythm with the new gig, which is not so new anymore, right? But I do want to acknowledge that there's this whole notion that there's some pain there. And that can also contribute to why we don't communicate our needs, okay? I want to move into taking initiative because I want to tie this whole notion of flexibility and adaptability back to something that we talked about. But it's also going to challenge us to embrace change. So of all three of these steps, okay, embracing change is going to be the one that's going to have the most emotional tie to it. The mindset is personal. The challenging the assumptions, that's all on you. The letting go, those are your things. You don't have to tell anybody about that. You don't need anybody alongside you in order to let go. Okay, you don't need anybody to motivate you in order to challenge assumptions. You can challenge your own assumptions, right? Right? All of that is true. But when it comes to embracing change, that is the world experiencing you in an outward way. And when you start to communicate those needs, especially if your needs are different from the needs that others have always expected you to deliver, now we're getting to a place where people might be feeling compromised because they can't show up for you, because the way that folks have always showed up for you, they can control it. It's manageable. There's no issues there. Everything is what it is, right? Oh, I know how to do this. I know how to operate in this space, but change something. Keep on living a little bit, right? Let somebody tell you something that you weren't expecting. Come up on something that was new and different or that changed without you being a part of that decision cycle. Then see how you feel, right? Because it can be challenging to communicate your needs without showing up as inferior or less than or vulnerable, all of those things, okay? But we can't avoid communicating our needs. Somebody tell me why we can't avoid it, okay? Somebody put it in the chat because I know you've been waiting for it this whole stream. Why can't we avoid communicating our needs? I'll wait for it. And while I'm waiting for somebody to type it in the chat, we will talk about taking initiative. Okay. I want to make sure that we understand that transformation is all about action. When we stay where we are, when we avoid the work, okay, when we do not, come on, reason, and put it in all caps, because avoidance is not a strategy. Even if we try, come on, y'all already know it. Avoidance is not a strategy. And we try to employ it as a strategy. But let me be really clear. Avoidance is not a strategy at all. It should not be. Because it doesn't lead to anything positive. It doesn't drive us through this space of saying, I'm ready to take action. Taking initiative is the last step to embracing transformation. Okay. It is the final step. It's only the final step in the blueprint approach, but it's the final step because it's the step that actually moves you into where the behaviors and where the habits change. Do y'all see what I did there? You have to take initiative because in taking initiative, you now operate in those changed habits and behaviors. If I had some music, I would dance because I hope everybody caught how I just tied the opening part of the blueprint in this whole transformation cycle that we're on all the way to taking initiative. In my head, I'm doing the whatever dance move I'm doing. Okay. I'm doing some dance move, whatever that is. Just do it with me. Now, Little Unique says avoidance does not solve the problem. It never does. Okay. But what I want to tell you is that taking initiative is where you activate those changed behaviors. Come on, reason. Thank you so much. Is where you activate those changed behaviors and habits. And that's all about metamorphosis. Come on, darling Nikki with the finger snaps. Thank you so much. Right. That metamorphosis is where when you take initiative, everything that you took initiative to do will show up here. So whoever said in the chat, I think it was Roz Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken. Roz Brooklyn said, don't wait. Come on with the dancing. I like it. Okay. Roz Brooklyn said, don't be a procrastinator like me. And I might be messing up the way that you said it, Roz Brooklyn. I'm sorry, but something along those lines of essentially don't procrastinate, right? Just don't. The first step is you have to be proactive. Do not wait. If you know you need to do it, if it's available to you, if you have the means to go and get it, go and get it. Don't avoid asking for help or communicating your needs, but don't wait if it's available to you, because the longer you procrastinate, the longer you have time to operate in this double-mindedness. You will say it's a great idea and talk yourself right out of it. And now you're back into a fixed mindset. You get to a place where the proactivity becomes a positive catalyst where you start to say, you know what? If I take these 3 steps, I already know that that's going to lead me here. Okay, now I can anticipate what these outcomes might be. Now I can think about how I need to show up in these spaces, in these places, all of those things, right? But you can't wait. You can't settle. You can't let something pass you by. You can't look at the date and know that that's supposed to be your date. You can't wait at all. What if we all waited to do the things that we wanted to do? Would we do them? Absolutely not. Because we would be waiting out of, pick your word, fear, desperation, comfort. Ooh, comfort is a big one. Okay. Sometimes we wait because we are comfortable. And then we miss out on some of the greatest things that are available to us. Please don't wait because you're comfortable. Can we just agree that that's not going to be what we do? Because what did I say about discomfort earlier in the chat? Who remembers that? What did I say about discomfort? Neek says, that is my biggest problem, procrastination. We're going to hang here for a minute, right? That's why I put proactivity there, right? What did I put about that in the chat earlier? Who remembers, right? Somebody who's scrolling back, drop that statement back into the chat. All right. I want to remind you as you're listening that there's a great opportunity for you to donate. Okay. Roz Brooklyn says sometimes it's just laziness. It is. Sometimes laziness is what shows up, but really we're tired. We're mentally and emotionally burnt out. And sometimes that translates into laziness or lack of activity. I will acknowledge that, Roz Brooklyn, because oftentimes we're moving a lot. We're doing all of these different things, right? We're putting our energy out there. And it shows up in a bunch of different ways. Okay. So I do want to acknowledge that. But that proactivity is where you have the opportunity to not get stuck. So let's just agree as a community that we're not going to wait for something because we're comfortable in the space that we are, right? Because discomfort is the thing that could very much move us forward. Okay. Just Jen on the check-in. Good to see you. Happy Thursday. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're having a fabulous day. Thank you for joining me for this Blueprint edition, kicking off the Lock and Key Media Family Reunion Weekend. How are you? So, proactivity, everybody. I want you to think about what that looks like for you. And I want you to let go of anything that is blocking your ability to be proactive. Okay. Second step is you have to be flexible and adaptable. Okay. Who in here does not like change? And I didn't ask this question when we talked about embracing change because I really wanted it to be connected to self-compassion and communicating your needs. But let's just talk about it. Who in here does not like change? Who in here gets really swirly? It makes you crash out a little bit, right? Darla Nikki says me. Okay. What does it feel when you know something is changing? What happens? Listen, Nick says me. Y'all, when I get nervous, I think I've said this. When I get really, really nervous, my armpits get really itchy. That's just, sorry for those who are like, ew, that's just what happens. It's equivalent to some type of like visceral expression in your body that changes. Okay. Like there's a lot of things that happen when you start to think about change, because what change signifies is I now have to step out of that comfort. Hello. While we cannot get comfortable. Okay. And step into something new that might require me to feel or experience some discomfort. All right. Breezy says, I hate change in the school system. Fair. Darla Nikki says, panic. Right. Sometimes change does incite panic. Little Unique says, not me. I love change. But you have a friend that is like that. Some people do like change. And some of us have people in our circles that like it. Some of us have people that we know people that change just sets them off. It puts them on edge. It activates their worry. It activates other things in them. Right. Ross Brooklyn says change is inevitable. And it is. Okay. When you think about change, okay, I want you to think about change as an opportunity to positively contribute and collaborate. What am I contributing to? I'm contributing to the outcome that's desired. And I'm collaborating with other people who also believe in and want that same outcome. How does that feel, right? I'm contributing and collaborating. Change gives me the opportunity to contribute my gifts, my talents, my expertise towards an outcome, right? And collaborate with other people who also want to get there. Okay. Absolutely, Jen. Jen says, I embrace change even when I don't necessarily like the change. And it is constant. So why do I frame the concept or the definition or the perception of change that way? Because when you start to work through change, whatever that looks like, you are going to have to be flexible and adaptable. Okay. Hobbs is making an excellent point. Hobbs says, I don't love it, but the times I have not changed, the decisions get made for me. Let me tell you something about me. Okay. And about many people that I coach, I have learned that everybody wants the ability to make a decision that's right for them. Don't make a decision on my behalf. Don't take away my ability to decide something. Okay. I had a friend do that to me when we were younger. And he made a decision and it turned out to be right. And at the time I didn't understand it. I understand it now because we're much older. Right. But he made a decision that impacted, the way our relationship was going to move forward. I now have a completely different understanding. But the thing that I said to him is you made the decision for us. You took my ability to contribute to how this decision or how this outcome was going to go off the table. But here's the thing, friends, if you don't make the decision, it will get made for you. The universe will kick you out, right? Somebody will pick you up and place you somewhere else. Circumstances will shift, whether you control them or not. And so if you want to be on the right side of change, embrace it. That means you have to be agile. You have to be flexible. You have to be adaptable. That means you have to be open, willing, available. Please be available to change. Please be available to yourself. Who in here is not available to themselves? Anybody not available to themselves? When is the last time you showed up for you? Let's just have that conversation for like a minute or two. When is the last time you showed up for you? Because if you can't be flexible for yourself, but you choose to be flexible for other people, hoping to receive something in return, okay? I want to understand this, right? When is the last time you have been available to yourself? I want you to really think about that. When's the last time I showed up for myself? Not for my kids, not for the people that I take care of, not for my job, not for any of those things. When is the last time I showed up for myself? When's the last time I've been available? If you haven't, check in with yourself. Okay. Nick said today. Right. And I love it. Right. Show up for yourself. If you haven't, okay. And LV says, but I'm not looking for something in return. And there's a fair amount of people, LV, who aren't. Unfortunately, that's not always the balanced seesaw, right? And so when we talk about this notion of being flexible and adaptable, it comes with boundaries, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody write that down. Flexibility and adaptability require boundaries. You can't be so flexible that everybody has access to you and you don't have access to yourself. You are your most valuable resource. You are your most important work every day. You are the most important thing to you first, okay? You have to pour into you because you cannot pour from an empty cup at all. Listen, folks, that whole notion about securing your own oxygen mask, it's real. And if you don't do it, okay, it's a whole thing. So be flexible and adaptable, but put boundaries around that flexibility and that adaptability and make sure that you amplify that for yourself first, because if you are not at your best, who are you going to give that to? You're going to take something mediocre to somebody else? Absolutely not, because that's not being the boss of your own blueprint. We're going to take something less than excellent to somebody else? Absolutely not, because that's not being the boss of your own blueprint. We're going to give something less than what we know we deserve or what we know they deserve or what our quality is, or what we're going to operate below our brand? Absolutely not, because that is not being the boss of your own blueprint. And y'all already know your favorite virtual coach is not under any circumstances going to allow that to happen. I just want y'all to know Big Stove is tiptoeing by the hallway because he doesn't want to get hit with the darts that are flying out of here. The darts that are flying out of here. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. I love him. I'm so happy to see you.
Good to see you too, huh? What up, y'all?
He's next. This is who's coming up next, right after the blueprint. It's not even a raid. It is a seamless transition from the blueprint into. It is. It's just a seamless transition into the stovosphere. That is where we're going, ladies and gentlemen. Big Stove is in the house. We are leaving the blueprint. Right. Everybody's gonna load up on the caravan of Sprinter vans, and we're gonna go right out into the stovosphere. That is who is coming in next. Okay. All right. Now, let's get back to this whole notion about putting boundaries around being flexible and adaptable. Okay. You have to do it for you first. If you all don't hear anything else about transformation and how to embrace it, that whole notion of giving yourself grace and being flexible and adaptable for you is a requirement. It is a requirement, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Please know that. Please believe that. Please understand that. Okay. I got a few minutes left, so I want to make sure that there's plenty of time for people to respond in the chat, for us to do a little bit of a recap, because y'all saw our friend Stove who was getting set up, so we can be prepared to go and jam out with him for the next few minutes. Okay. Now, when we talk about being flexible and adaptable, here's what that is not. Okay, Chef Nobi, good to see you. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the Lock and Key Media Family Reunion edition of The Blueprint. I hope you're doing well. Here is what flexibility and adaptability it is not. It is not overextending. It is not going beyond your capabilities. It is not operating off of an empty tank, thinking, believing that is what's required. It is not operating out of obligation. It is not moving from a place that is toxic. It is not any of those things, right? You can't be adaptable if you're coming from a place of pettiness. That's not cool. That's how people are going to experience you, right? In fact, that's going to make you inflexible. That's how people are going to experience you. You want to be able to move seamlessly in and out of whatever spaces you need to, whether it's for you or whether it is in pursuit of goals, outcomes, change, shifts, whatever that looks like. Okay. Now, this last one, I want you to focus on solutions. Okay. When you focus on solutions, that means that the problems, the challenges, you know that they're going to come. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be there. But what it does mean is that you are like, you know what? I get that's a hurdle, but that's not going to stop me. I'm now working towards how I get around that, right? How I'm going to move this mountain that's in front of me, how I'm going to get around it, how I'm going to scale over it, who's going to go with me. When I say to myself, that mountain makes me no matter, right? This river makes me no matter. I'm just going to build my own path right on through it. Okay. Derek T, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here, right? These mountains and these rivers and these valleys that we may find ourselves in. So what? It's a valley. So what? It's your Everest. So what? It's your Jordan, right? It doesn't matter. The solution is I acknowledge that there's something there. And I'm still going to be able to move through it. I'm still going to be able to climb over it. I'm still going to be able to work around it. I still have everything I need to do exactly what I need to do and not get stuck and not get behind and not lose courage and not find myself in a fearful state, right? I want everybody in here to know that when we talk about transformation, we are talking about creating something new. Let's go back to the very beginning of what I said. Remember, it is a significant change in person, character, right? New habits, new behaviors. That means everything you leave on the other side of that mountain, at the bottom of that mountain, in the very base of that valley, whatever it is, but you are leaving it there. You are leaving it there and you're not coming back for it. Okay? Does everybody understand that? Whatever it is that you left, leave it. You are letting it go. Your mindset is saying, you know what? I got this. Mr. Nate, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Thursday to you. Welcome to this Lock and Key Media edition of The Blueprint as we step into this family reunion weekend. Thank you to everybody who has donated, who has given gift subs, who has followed me on Twitch. Thank you to everybody who has given bits. All of it is going to Spending for Autism, autism awareness, all of these things. All right. So thank you for the follows, and thank you to everybody who's been coming in and out of the chat. And thank you to everybody who has said, Kim Blue is on, because I've seen folks float in and out. To everybody who is working or lurking or commuting, because you all know this stream is very much lurker friendly. Salute to you. I appreciate you being here. Listen, and for those folks who are checking me out for the first time, whether it's on recommendation or whether you've been seeing my name and wondering what actually goes on in the blueprint, salute to you for being here. I appreciate you. Hopefully you got something out of this conversation. We're not done yet, but hopefully you got something out of this conversation that you're going to be able to take away that's going to make you better. The goal of every single blueprint conversation is for you to leave and say, man, I heard Kim Blue say this, and now I can go apply this to my life immediately. I can say this in my next conversation. I can say it in a meeting tomorrow. I can have a conversation with someone about this. I feel more equipped, better grounded, more confident to be able to think through. Right? I've had a chance to sit still and really think clearly about some things. That's the goal of this. That's why I invite the live coaching is absolutely, Roz. Leave it all, right? Leave it all. So when we talk about focusing on solutions as we get ready to wrap, right? When we focus on solutions, I want you to talk out loud to me about a couple of things. Number one, this is where the double-mindedness comes in, where we talk ourselves out of something. But when we're talking ourselves out of it, is it truly talking ourselves out, or are we trying to process through fear, through negativity, through disengagement, through the noise? What are we trying to talk ourselves out of that doesn't get us to a place of solution? Right? Are we talking ourselves out of success? Are we talking ourselves out of failure? Are we talking ourselves out of opportunity? What are we talking ourselves out of? Let me tell you something. What if K-Lock had talked himself out of doing any of this? And y'all weren't experiencing this from this beautiful new studio with this 8K camera, okay? Where you can count all the ports, right? What if he had talked himself out of all? I'm just saying, he's over here laughing at me, y'all. What if he had talked himself out of all of this? What is it that happens when we say this can't yield a positive outcome? There's no way, right? C Loves is like, man, listen, okay, right? What? Right? What if we had what it happens if he had talked himself out of this? And for those who haven't seen the new studios, they are beautiful, right? They have gorgeous paint and all new floors and all types of stuff in here, right? It is all of these things. It is beautiful down here.
Room for all kinds of activity.
Right? Absolutely. Shout out to everybody who's upstairs listening to me, who has seen it, who is in the house, who's going to be DJing this weekend or doing a stream this weekend from this space. I'm just saying, what if he had talked himself out of all of this and we had no idea what this experience could yield?
This is all your fault.
I will happily accept the blame. K-Lock readily and regularly tells me that this whole project is my fault. And so for those of you who get to sit in this chair this weekend, or those of you who are going to be in the DJ studio this weekend, when you walk in and you see me, all you have to do is say, "You're welcome." Thank you, Kim Blue. And I'm going to say, "You're welcome." You're welcome. DJ Deliver on the check-in. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. All right. Blue Majesty said, "I'm hiding from you when you come upstairs, Kim Blue." That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Well, that's going to be very shortly, Blue Majesty. So you better get to hiding. All right. I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen, had K-Lock not focused on the solutions, he could have looked at both of these studios and said, there is no way I'm going to be able to work through this. Or he could have asked the people who were around him to come help him sort through records. He could have done his research. He could have reached out to his resources and said, these are the things that I need, right? I've sorted through records with him down here. Ebony ATL sorted through records. Guzzle has been over here sorted through It's been many folks who have come through here. But had he not done this, these elevated experiences that we are having, K-Lock was focused on the solutions, not the things that got in his way. And there were many things, time, resources, all of these things. I want everybody to understand, right? Especially if you're in the Blueprint coaching group, if you are in the Blueprint coaching group, can you please put the boss boots in the chat? Okay, the boots, right? LaWanda Baskerville says, we putting up doors to lock upstairs so that I can't even come upstairs. Wow, it's always your own people. It is always your own people. Oh my goodness. I'm just saying, right? But think about this, okay? If you listen, Double Spirit puts the locks in the chat. I'm just saying, all of these things, when we focus on solutions, and this is something, and while I don't use these words to my Blueprint coaching group, right? And there's a fair amount of y'all who are in the building, in person, and in the chat. Y'all know for a fact that I always push towards, and how are we going to solution this? How are we going to get forward? What are we doing? And I will tell you that most of the folks who are in my coaching group are all in a different place because they've been focused on the path forward. They have been scared, but they did it afraid. Okay. I'm just saying. Ebony says the stairs were turned into a slide, right? It'll be the whole like Wicked Witch of the West. I'm going to turn green. I'm melting. Right. They're not going to let me upstairs. I'm just going to have to go out through the garage. I see how it is. It's always your own folks. It is always your own folks. Okay. However, I'm going to focus on the solution. Okay. And my solution it's going to come to me whenever I get done streaming. I'm going to figure out how to get upstairs. Okay. But I'm just saying, right? Understand that when you focus on the solutions, it doesn't mean that you disregard the challenges, that you overlook the hurdles. It does, however, mean that you embrace all of the things that are available to you despite the hurdles, despite the mountains, despite the roadblocks. Because your goal, your success, your end game is out there. And again, why would you give it up? Why would you not move forward with it? Because you're comfortable, right? The discomfort, right? Hobbs says, because I'm afraid of getting a voice memo. Shout out to everybody who has received even one voice memo from me, because I will leave you one unannounced and ask you about your whole life, and then proceed to offer you some nuggets for consideration in said voice memo. Okay. And then we'll wait for you to respond back or acknowledge it in some way. Okay. I do. Right. Everybody says it to me all the time. I thought that you were going to I was going to be able to scoot under the rug. No, you didn't. No, you absolutely did not. Right. I tell people all the time, I may not say anything, but I see everything. I see a lot of things. So by the time you get to me, I'm prepared to check in with you because I'm focused on how I can support you. And that's what I want you to think about when you think about this whole notion of transformation. It is full on change. You can't wait. You have to be open to being agile and changing your perspective, changing your mindset around all of these things. Okay? If you wait, the work is still going to be there, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say that again for those who might have been taking notes and are not writing as fast as others. If you wait, the work is still going to be there. Okay. I want everybody to accept that very clearly. A. McKee will tell you she's looking when you think she's not. Listen, I sent A. McKee a whole voice memo and I said, you thought I was not checking. You thought just because I was quiet that I wasn't going to be checking in on you. And then I proceeded to tell her a whole set of things related to this new business that she just launched. Because if you didn't know, A. McKee has launched a notary business. Look at your coach, putting all your business in it's always your coach, just telling all your business. Anyway, y'all, A. McKee has launched a notary business. Okay. And it's going to be fabulous. And so for those people who are looking for notaries, please contact her. She's working on expanding that and the ability to be able to not only be a notary in the state of North Carolina, but she is also going to look to expand that out so that when she travels, those things can also happen when she's on the road, right? There you go. Because we had to be focused on the solutions, right? We had to be focused on the solutions. This was not a thing that was not going to happen, right? I say that to all of y'all, right? Whether you're in my coaching group, whether you've been thinking about coaching or not, you have to be focused on your solution. Where do you want to go? The opening question that I said to you is, where are you now? And are you where you want to be? Linus Nala on the check-in. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Where do you want to be? Because if you are not where you want to be, then transformation awaits. We have work to do. We have to step up and be proactive. We got to make sure that we got our flexibility rooted in boundaries, okay? And we have to focus on the solutions. We can't get caught up in that. You're welcome, A. McKee, right? We can't get caught up, right, in that premeditation that I'm thinking I should do this. So let me tell you something. If you've been thinking about it, do it, okay? If you've been, right, researching it, do it. Don't wait, because the work is going to be there whether you wait or not. It's still going to have to get done. So please don't wait. Okay? It's not worth it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your blueprint and the kickoff stream for this fabulous weekend that we are all going to be a part of. Okay? I could not be more honored to have been the first streamer to kick this off. Thank you to every single one of you who are embracing your transformation. Good talk emotes in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to everybody who came in to say hello, to show some love, who made a donation, who gave bits and subs. Thank you to everybody who followed me, whether it's your first time here or whether you're coming back because you have been supporting my opportunity to go be great in the world of HR out of here. I have missed all of you tremendously. And I'm happy, right? It makes me happy to be here coaching and imparting wisdom and things that I hope that you can use in your day to day, right? Understand that transformation is always available to you. You just have to choose it. Okay. You have to choose it because it's always going to be there. And now you've got some tools that are going to help you understand how to navigate transformation safely, intentionally, and supported. Okay. So I am extremely happy to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everything. I want everybody to grab their favorite beverage, nudge their friend, get themselves together because we are locked in, right? We are on our way to the stovosphere, right? You know, listen, he has many names, okay? He is a man of many talents. He is from the great mountaintops of Cleveland, as Vader would say, okay? And so we are very thoughtfully going to gather up our belongings because we don't leave the boardroom a mess. You all know that, right? So clean up, make sure we get all of our napkins and tissues, fold up your blankets so that you'll be ready to access them next time, whenever it's time to come back. Okay. Would you like to say something, sir?
Do I have to?
No,
No.
Only if you want to.
Kim, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being flexible.
Of course.
Thank you for actually coming back over here, because I thought you scared everybody away.
Listen, I'm back. There it is.
Back. Is this an announcement?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I wish it was an announcement, but at least for today. For now, I'm back.
No, mm-hmm. I know, like, we both know how busy you've been. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate you.
LV.
Yeah, only on certain weekends, LV, I can talk. Only certain weekends.
Hilarious.
Except for when I'm cussing you out. Because you already know.
Metaspin, are you here? I am coming to give you a hug because I caught Metaspin once and I was like, I made it to your stream. I'm so honored to meet you. She was like, I'm honored to meet you. I was like, this is bananas. Okay. I was super excited.
No, but thank you.
You're welcome. You're
Appreciate
welcome.
You.
Listen, I love you guys. Thank you so much. Continue to support this entire weekend. Okay. I intend to park this whole weekend on my TV at home. Thank you, Neek, for telling the people not to lock me in the basement. Okay. Yes, we are $1,316 in donations so far. Thank you. Site giver on the check-in. Good to see you, sis. Shout out to DJ Funklore. Listen, keep it going. Keep the support coming. Keep the encouragement coming. I will be in and out this weekend, supporting those who are helping to take care of K-Lock's very beautiful home and these studios. Again, shout out to all of the mods who are in the chat who will be supporting and streaming. I said to K-Lock, do you want me to mod? And he was like, nope, I want you to be here. And so that is where I am. So I will be supporting folks like Lisa X and Linda Michelle and anybody else who's making sure that the house is taken care of. That is where I will be in the background. I may pop into streams from time to time to say hello, but I could not have been more honored to be the very first person to kick off this weekend, right? And so with that, if we are ready, everybody pack up your belongings because we about to go out of this world. We taking it to the stovosphere, okay? I love you all. I could not be more thrilled to see you. Is he ready? Oh, he needs 5 minutes. Okay. He says he needs 5 minutes. So while he is finishing up in his final 5 minutes, I love to make sure that I give people the opportunity to ask me questions about things that they want. You all know how I feel about live coaching. So if there are things that I can ask, listen, people have also said to me, am I still doing the Blueprint coaching group? I am. And thank you to my groups who have been very flexible with my wild works schedule lately, but who have also come together in their own ways, right? So if there are questions that you would like to, LV, if there are questions that I can answer or other things that from a coaching standpoint, you all know I do. So for those who don't know, like my actual real job is HR, and I am an HR strategist. I do career coaching. I really whisper in the ears of leaders all the time, and I talk to them about how to make their organizations better. So drop your questions in the chat. If there's like, Kim Blue, I want you to see this, or Kim Blue, I want to be able to talk about this, or Kim Blue, what do you think about this? I'm happy to share perspective on that and make sure that everybody either has some thoughts, or we can just merely chop it up and shoot the breeze in the chat, just because I haven't seen you all in so long. When I came in the door, I said, what's everybody been doing? Because I've been heads down working. What have I missed in the world? Okay. What have I missed? Michelle 22, welcome in. Good to see you, right? What have I missed? Classics, thank you so much. What's been going on? Like, what's been going on with everybody? What is new that I haven't seen on social? Right? What has everybody been experiencing? How is everybody doing work-wise, family-wise, health-wise? Right? Talk to me. What's been going on? He's ready? Oh, 3 minutes. Okay. Blue Majesty said the orange dude is gone cray-cray. Listen. Okay. Funklore says, Kim Blue, how can we keep whack people at bay? You know what, Funklore? That's a great question. What he's really saying is, how do we protect our peace? Please drink your water, mind your business, and get around good people who are always going to give you good community, who are going to support you, and who are going to be honest, because to be clear is to be kind. And if anybody is coming at you with things that don't align with your energy, you just have to use your voice, because your voice is also currency, Funklore, and say, you know what? I hear you on that, but that's not even my vibe. So I'm going to let you keep that. I'm approaching this in a very different way. And that's cool, right? All of that. That is how you keep whack people at bay, or one way you keep whack people at bay. And according to LV, when all else fails, SAB, I will let him tell you what SAB means. Miss Riz says boundaries, 100%. Please implore boundaries, okay? If you don't know where your boundaries are, that might mean you need to check if you even have them. Okay, a little unique. So maybe, right. So, so it's so interesting, right? Because here's the thing, right? There's so much happening in the world right now. And when all else fails, we do want to employ the I know DJ LV method, which feels right, but in the long run is likely not the best thing to do. Okay. I'm just saying. Little Unique says, I mean, listen, it's always an option. I won't tell you it's not an option. We just have to, listen, we have to weigh the consequences and decide, is the outcome of this choice worth it, right? How do we feel about that? What does that look like? There's a lot on the table, right? We got to understand, we got to make sure that we're thinking through all of these things. I'm just saying. Okay. Otherwise, you drink your water, you mind your business, and you get around good people. And shout out to Miss Riz, who says, and you put up these boundaries because they are so important. Molly Party says there's no Netflix in prison. And that's what I always remind myself. Molly, yes. Okay. Fair, LV. I love Molly's practical. She's like, listen, in prison, there's no Netflix. There's also not other things in prison. So I'm going with DJ Molly Party on this one. Okay. Think about what you don't have access to. Right. Natty Nat, hysterical and facts all at the same time. Okay. Because you're not going to be able to have these life pleasantries on the inside, right? They only exist on the outside. So shout out to Molly for bringing perspective to the conversation, Oh man. You know what? This site giver, I don't know if there's Netflix in jail either. Inquiring minds want to know. Little Unique. Little Unique says, orange is my color, but I'm not a jumpsuit girl. I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying. Okay, so everybody is out here trying not to smack a bish. And we're trying to figure out how to, right? We're trying to also figure out how to maintain whack people being away from us, right? What else is happening out there in these streets? What do you all need that you don't have right now that you're not asking for? What do you need that you don't have or that you're not asking for? And McKee says, well, there are cell phones on the inside. Listen, these are truths. There are cell phones on the inside. I just want to say that. Okay. Just saying. So what I want you to think about as you are answering my question, Medicine says money. That's fair, right? That is fair. Listen. Derek T says, can we choke a MAGA asking for a friend? Let's go back to these choices, Derek T. So at the end of that, what then does that get us? And what would we be leaving on the table, right? Riz says, I need sleep. And she keeps asking her body, but it won't comply. Hobbs says she needs a new computer. LV says sponsorships and investments. We're working on it, LV. We are working on it. Oh, and I did see your text, LV. I'm waiting to confirm one thing, but I think it's going to be after 2:00 next Tuesday. That's the answer to your question. Okay. Needing sleep is real. Okay. Blue Majesty and I were talking about that upstairs. Right. And McKee says she is ready for another vacation. These are all really good things that we need. J. Joan on the check-in. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Thursday. Thank you for rocking with me while we wait for our friend Big Stove to get set up in the Stovosphere, because that's where we're going. You ready? Okay. Big Stove says we are ready. Everybody get your belongings from the boardroom. Okay. Make sure we leave it nice and neat in case anybody comes back to capture the notes that were left on the board. Okay. Make sure you see LaWanda Baskerville. She is going to be unlocking the door at any point in time. Okay. See you in 2 months, Diz. All right. Because it's been 8 minutes. Right. Listen, folks, we want to make sure that we have everything together. Again, I appreciate all of you. Shout out to everybody who I'm going to see this weekend in person or online. I intend to be in both places. I love you all. Miss KB says, but my blanket fort is fire. She doesn't want to give it up. All right. I love you all. I'll see you over in the Stovosphere. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Thursday to you. Listen, Miss KB, I'm happy that your blanket fort is fire and that it supported you during the conversation. Follow Hobbs' advice, right? She says, just leave it. I'm sure you'll need it again. She's right about that.